All right, quick recap. What I've been running for like the last 10 days while I was on the road. SMA cross buy, gain, sell. I ran them side by side on Coinbase and Binance. Binance was slightly better because there is less fee, so you can add a little more padding to profit to exit versus, it being eaten up by fees. Let's take a look at this. Can't go back too far because, GunBot only allows so much, but you can kind of see. So while I had the much better buy on Binance as far as the cross, I had some issues with the exit on the sells. I had to make some adjustments. I'm not quite sure what happened, but it missed some major exits where Coinbase was real precise. I was pretty happy with how well it trailed and the overall action of it. Like I said, it just didn't buy as much. So we'll have to look into that. Anyway, so as far back as it went, you kind of see like SMA cross, how it buys, sells, buys, sells. And the exits were all, pretty decent. Pretty happy with that. It's a great tool to use on the right section of order flow. If you use it on the wrong section, obviously if it's not going to keep going up, if you go and collect all that right there and it doesn't go up, you're just bagged up. So one of the ways around that too is to stop GunBot from having access to all of your cash. Let's say you have, $1,000 and you only want to let it trade 200. Take 800 and put an order for, $800 worth of LTC at $1. That way it has no access to it. So once SMA cross just goes crazy and just buys every time it crosses, you'd have $200 of it bought. And let's say it doesn't go up, to let you out, you could always just cancel that order and then, give it whatever amount you want it to be able to use. And same thing, do like a poor man's like, stopping it from having access to everything kind of little, keep quote type thing, or I don't know, keep base, whatever the fuck, doesn't matter. Either way, that's the way to do it. So on the back tester, it said I was going to get about 8% on this setup. I got about 20. Nothing to do against the back tester. It's just, it works on a closed candle where GunBot works, live. So there was definitely a little bit more to be had from this SMA cross than it said it had. And I'm pretty happy with it. Some people did a lot better than 20% in the last few days, and probably laugh at me because realistically, I probably could have bought and held and did a whole lot better than 20%. But it is what it is. So for the guys that are like, I can't make the bot make me any money, bullshit. You just got to turn the bot on during the right section of, order flow. You can't put the wrong strat to the wrong time frame. So if you're trying to, run SMA cross and this is the section that you're in over here, you're not going to get anything, dude. You're just going to keep getting bagged up all the way to the bottom. It works better on this kind of order flow. And when it starts to turn into, this drop over here, and if that's what that does, then I'll have to turn that off and adjust strats or turn it off entirely. That's where you really got to know a little bit of something about trading, because you can't just expect the bot to do everything for you. Like, it does what you tell it to do. So if you give it like an SMA cross buy and sell and exits that are designed to be too tall, and you're asking for too much, well, then it's going to keep buying, and then it's never going to exit because you're asking for 5-10% and it never got there. You might have been able to scalp the shit out of like 1 or 2 or 3%. And then again, too, if you're going to cry like, oh, I could have got 10% here or 15%, well, then you need to be running like, step gain exit. But you're the guy that's going to sit here forever waiting for that step gain exit. You're never going to get it till over here. So you kind of got to decide, you're trying to like be an active trader. Are you trying to like trade all the order flow, or are you waiting to try to get on like one major pop here, one major pop here, one major pop here? So, from December, what is that? December 23rd, there's one great exit off a dip, and then there's a second one, and then all the way up till February, what is this? 19th, there's another one. So there's like 3 good step gain exits in like a month and a half or 2 on that, where the guy that traded all the little order flow sections, he got a whole lot more because he settled for the crumbs versus the loaf, like people like to talk that shit. So anyway, this back tester here, as it ran on this section, each exit was about 1%. And I was pretty happy with that. There was better tuning to be had, but not from the road. And if I ever see this kind of order flow again, I'll definitely, use this with a little taller gain. But I also don't want to get stuck. So let's look at the settings real quick. So there's all the exits and there's all the entries. And it's just real simple. Buy enabled, buy method SMA cross, no take buy, none of that crap. On the sell enabled, double check gains, gain 0.75, and you could run that a little tighter now that it's getting a little slower, or you can run it a little taller when it starts to ramp back up. It's kind of up to you, but I'm running that with Trail Me for this one. So the balance, basically set it up to this to whatever you want. If the minimum buy to sell is 10, I would set it to, if you have $1,000, set it to 12. You want to be able to get 40 or so buys in to get a good chance to not get bagged. I do not suggest, if all you have is $1,000, to even run this strat. Like, you need $1,000 and like 4,000 set aside so that each time that shelf doesn't happen to hold, you can average down another 1,000. So that's just kind of the way I have it set. If you run SMA cross on the back tester, Alan will even tell you, like, he won't even talk to you about it. He doesn't even suggest it, because the way that thing works, it takes into account that you have unlimited funds. So you have to think, like, if you see it, needing 1,000 buys before it can find the gain exit, well, unless you have the money to cover that, it's just not right. So it doesn't quite give you a true estimate of what, or a picture of what you could expect. So this is why I did it. And I ran it with 12 and 25, I think. 12 and 25. Hold on. Yeah, 25 on this one, and I think 12 on Binance. And then I also had shelved money. So some of those buys you've seen were me buying in at like $1,000 pop on my own. But that was just because I knew it was about to ramp and I wanted the extra money. So there's your indicators. RSI was 55. I bumped it up when I got home on the other exchange to check it out at like 65. Totally bagged me. Total mistake. 55 was pretty optimal. A little bit that or less for this kind of order flow. Dollar cost average off. Reversal trading off. God, I'm making videos. And Trail Me was set to 1.9. Oddly enough, 0.2 sucked. 0.18 was much less. 0.19 was optimal until I got to, I think it was 0.04, and that worked best with something that was at like 4 or 5% gains. So I back tested for hours and hours and hours and hours before I left, fucking around with stuff. And again, that's only going to be for that particular order flow, which never happened again in the future. But I wanted to run 0.19. That's what said was the best. It ran well. Miscellaneous, count sell 99. It's just off. Stop loss. I used to run 100, but someone said don't do that because, the bot, I don't know, hard-coded bullshit, whatever. So it just says 99, but I run 100. I think that was everything for that particular portion. And this is Binance. Binance had a lot more buys, but it had some sell trouble. It missed things continually, like up in here. I mean, it missed all that down into there, and I'm not quite sure what happened, but I did get much more buys. Either way, both accounts worked out to about plus 20%. So overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Can't complain too much. If you got any questions, comments, or can add to the strat, or see something that would have been, I don't know, much better, let me know.